I think when we get right down to it, when we are talking about doing something, we kind of forget the important part of the doing something and we focus on sort of the central character, which is always us, right? Like we're the main character in any story. So maybe we're really good at being a cook. And maybe we say to ourselves, oh, I should totally open a restaurant. And in that process, we really envision ourselves as being this person who's learned a lot of stuff, who can use kind of our natural abilities to cook. And that's us. We are in focus as being a great cook. And we think about the kinds of dishes we're going to make, and probably there's something that somebody complimented you on, and that's the dish you're going to envision. And of course, we think about the person. We're like, people, they're going to love my food, especially if they get a real bite of this thing. They're going to love it. Man, they're going to go nuts for it. And that's what we think about. That's the experience we put together in our heads and say, I'm a great cook. I'm going to make great food. I'm going to make great people enjoy my food, and they're going to write up reviews. For all I know, I could get a Michelin star just based on the quality of the food alone. If only it were that easy, right? Like this was the thing you could focus on, was just this interaction here, right? But that's not really how it goes, is it? There's, you want that to be the shining middle of the whole process, but to get that food made, unless you're just cooking at your house, which is the only way that you could do that, you need someone working in the back, right? You can't do all of the jobs. You can't be the server, you can't be the cook and all those things, again, unless you're just cooking for home. So then you got to have staff there and resources and people who have problems and miseries and all kinds of things that are going on in their life, and you got to teach them how to cook the right way. All you have to do is watch The Bear on Hulu, which is an incredible show. If you watch The Bear, you will kind of get the sense of what's going on there. But like that guy cooking in the back, that's not exactly the whole story either, right? Because your staff, that's a mess. So if you want to put that really nice dish out there, you got to have this person doing their thing. They have to learn how to do it fast. They have to be timely. But what are they going to cook? Oh, yeah, you have to keep inventory. You got to keep supplies. And by the way, this is number one place that restaurants seem to fall down and do things horribly, is they don't know how to do good stock management. And so they have maybe 6 different types of potatoes, for instance. Like they have French fries, they have tater tots, they have whatever. They have curly fries. They just end up putting together like all these varieties of things. They can't manage their stock. They can't they make things that require only a few different dishes. It's a mess, and it all goes back to you who just wants to cook, right? So that becomes an issue too. So in this process, as we're thinking this through, we have to sort of think about, what is the business really about? We have to think about, how many dishes do we have to produce a night to make the money we need? And in restaurants, they call it a number of covers that each check, I have to clear this many checks at like an average of $100. And how much staff do I have to maintain? You have to wonder about your inventory, your supplies, right? So these start to become the things. And as you look at all that, you're like, oh crap, this is all under the box of overhead, right? Like this is the stuff. You have to have this to get that part you want of the person up front enjoying your meal. Oh, and I forgot rent. So you need to also add rent in there, which becomes awful. Like that could be the worst of the worst. By the way, side note, you could do things like ghost kitchens, you could do things like trucks, but all of that is falling back on you. Well, how do you get there? Like, how do you decide what's going to be good, what's going to be bad? How do you manage for this? Once you understand that this is the basic part of how this business works, well, here's my mindset. What's the goal? What do you really need? So that goal includes the number of covers, how do you manage your inventory? That becomes the approach. How are you going to get there? What are you going to do to get there? And then finally, capabilities. Goals, approach, capability. So you have to work to expand your capabilities to make your approach. But let's say that you think your approach is great, but maybe it's not. Maybe you realize, oh man, I'm going about this the wrong way. You can't throw out just all your capabilities. You might add to your capabilities. You might say, oh, I'm going to have to think about some more things here. But you might cross out that approach and try a new way to get there. You might go, oh, never mind. I got a better way to get there. And I'm just going to apply my capability. Oh, change my mind. Now I'm going to do it. I've got a new way to approach this thing. This is how I'm going to do it. Smaller, evidently. Approach. See my point? Goals, approach, capability. This is how you start to look at your problems a little more intelligently than just, I want to be a good chef.